All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is Ninja Loyalist. All right. Now, first and foremost, I am going to say I'm going to get a different intro song. I kind of have to. You're right. Frank Reich's in there. I do still like the 1% better, quote, but, I need a new quote by Jeff Saturday and get that in there. So hopefully that will work.
Yeah. I know a new quote. Hey, look at me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. We are going to play back today's press conference with Colts new head coach. Almost said Frank Reich. Jeff Saturday. It's something that's just so new to me and so foreign that I'm not used to it yet.
Interim head coach. We got
interim. Well, I mean, it's guaranteed 8 weeks,
yep.
right? So well, it's not necessarily guaranteed. I mean, I guess he could be fired between now and the end of the 8 weeks, and then somebody else, Parks Frazier, gets uplifted. Now, that'd be weird. But hey, congratulations to Parks Frazier, by the way.
Absolutely.
While we're here, absolutely a great guy. I've met him. I've talked to him. He's done some stuff with us. But hey, let's just jump into this. All right, we're gonna play this. We're gonna stop after each question. Give our opinions and thoughts. Feel free, drop your opinions and thoughts in the chat as well. That's why you're here, guys. Smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you're notified next time we go live or upload a video. And if you want to help donate to the channel, please use the link at the very top of the description of the video. We would much appreciate all donations and any support that you give this channel. Thank you so much. Let's take a look at this here. All right. So we're going to jump in. That's not what we need to do. There we go. What? That's somebody pretty impressive. I just like the way he's standing there, hands on his hips, looking at everybody, right? That's just a good posture.
Says bring it.
Yeah, he doesn't have that defeated look like someone had in the Sunday's game. Let's listen to what he has to say.
I had the first chance to meet with the team this morning. Thought it went well. Great to see guys and meet people. Just try to let them know what I'm about, what my expectations are, what they can expect of me, and thought that went really well. Look, I got to earn their trust. There's no doubt about that. I'm not trying to diminish how important that is. That's going to take time. That's not going to happen in one meeting. So, but I felt like it went well. Looking forward at my expectations for them. Solid week of practice. Let's get after it. I thought the walkthrough was really crisp on both sides. And that's kind of where we sit. Trying to think of anything else I need to touch on.
Frazier, dude.
Parks Frazier will be the play caller. Just put that out there. I think it was leaked about 10 minutes after I had the conversation. So you guys are good. Appreciate that. And listen, we have a number of really good coaches on this staff. I'm excited to work with each and every one of them. I made a decision based on where the coaches were and trying to move as few pieces and parts as I could. And with Parks being the floater, he's been here the longest. I think he's been here since 2018. He knows the offense extremely well. We've had two guys on the staff who have called plays, being Scotty Montgomery and Scott Milanovich. So both of those guys, they're going to be heavily involved. We're all going to be heavily involved in trying to help Parks, put together the best game plan we can, and got full confidence he's going to do the right thing, put us in the right plays, and ultimately players got to go execute them and go make it happen. So that's where that is. And then Ashton Doolin, he's been designated to return to practice this week.
All right. So first and foremost, I get and understand completely why he chose Parks Frazier. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, but Scotty Montgomery and the quarterback's coach, they Parks Frazier knows this system better than anybody else left on the freaking staff. All right. He's been here, like he said, since 2018. He started off as Frank Reich's personal assistant, then moved up to offensive, not OC, offensive
quality control.
Thank you very much. And then moved up to being the assistant quarterbacks coach. He knows the system, knows the playbook, understands the entirety of the offense, not just by a book thing, but also, from a player standpoint on who does well, what, doing where. He did touch on the sarcasm of, I made the decision to move him up, and then 10 minutes in, it gets leaked. So thank you. You do your job very well.
Yeah, and the thing is, not only does Park Frazier understand this playbook, but he understands what works with these guys. He understands, he's seen this offense when it was running good. You know what I mean? And then he's seen this offense when it was running not so good. And the thing is he's going to have some of his own flavor and stuff, but he's also going to be able to bring some of what Reich and what this team is already familiar with. And then, like you said, the fact that this man here, Jeff Saturday, needs as many pieces running as smoothly and efficiently as humanly possible. Okay, he knows his weaknesses or weak points are he's not totally familiar with the team. So this is going to be much more of I'm counting on you guys to do the best version of you. Okay, and to your point, this little ripple that it'll cause in the offense versus, okay, if you would have put Gus Bradley, or if you would have brought, Reggie, all these names you keep hearing. But my point is the effectiveness of the team as a whole is less affected by this. And now, you got Gus Bradley running the defense like he has been already. And that is, he acknowledged this later on. That is a huge thing that he's going to need to rely on if he wants to have a productive, 8 weeks or hopefully longer.
Absolutely. Now, real quick, before I go any further into this, I just want to say those of you that are donating via the donation link, like Purity Empire just did, he dropped $10 into the tip jar. He says, "Go Colts, keep up the good work." I cannot share that screen until we're done with this. Okay. So because of the fact that you can't share 2 screens at once, we're going to get through this. At the end of it, any donations and stuff, I will jump in and show it to everybody. Appreciate you, Purity, for your donation.
Purity gets a double shout out just because.
Yeah, absolutely. First one in. Here we go.
What the last 48 hours been like? What? Give us a TikTok of what you've been doing the last 48 hours to catch up.
Meetings. I can't tell you how many meetings. I feel like every time I stand up and go to the door to say goodbye to somebody, I have someone else walking in. Learned a lot about new apps on my phone and on the tablet that getting accustomed to. Just the typical day of getting to know people, getting to know the staff, meeting with both staffs, all 3 phases, and trying to formulate the best way that I can help and support them. I told them this morning, man, I don't pretend to be the smartest guy in the room. My job here is to support that staff to make our players be the best. And whatever I can do, whatever I'm asked to do, I'm glad to help. What can I do to take something off of you to make you the best coach you can be? And I've done that in everything I've ever done in my life. I'm not, that's no different. So from my role, these guys know that's my focus for players, for coaches, for the staff in general. What can I do to alleviate as much pressure as possible? I can take all the shots and hopefully they can do their jobs freely and few as distractions as possible and let them go play good football.
All right. So first off, obviously a lot of meetings, right? Because, the past 48 hours between yesterday and today, and then of course, Monday, you didn't get to meet with the players and coaches, all the players that came in to do film work and stuff. They just found out, Frank Reich was fired. They didn't even get to meet Jeff Saturday until yesterday. And yesterday was their day off. So it was only if they came in to do any kind of, rehab work or something of that nature. Today was actually the day that the majority of the Colts players met Jeff Saturday. So that is a big deal. I was talking to Rodney McLeod, on Believe, and he was talking about that. He hadn't even met him yet, but he's heard so many great things about him. So this is, man, I love that he's also talking about how he's going to plan on just letting the guys coach the positions that they coach and not step on other people's feet.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a man that knows this is a team sport, and he needs this team around him to elevate him. You know what I mean? And he needs this team of coaches and players and stuff to help achieve the goals that they're setting forth. And by the way, Jeff, if you're watching this, I get it, my guy. I came to this channel and all the new technology stuff. It's a little overwhelming. So I mad respects for what you're going through, brother.
Absolutely.
Jeff.
Oh, hell no. Let me play that back, guys. Listen closely.
Their jobs freely and few as distractions as possible, and let them go play good football.
Jeff. My name is Greg Doyle. Nice to meet you. I'm with Indy Star.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. I want to ask 2 questions, so please, nobody barge in after this first one.
What the hell? What the hell is wrong with Greg Doyle?
I thought you said we had to keep this under an hour or two. We don't have that much time, my guy.
All right. Well, first off, that was the most disrespectful thing I have ever seen any reporter do to other reporters around him. Okay. That is freaking nuts. I'll let you have a say real quick.
Yeah, and I love how he says it. My name's Greg Doyle. He wants to make sure that he gets his name out there and gets his look at me. I can be a jerk points and stuff. And you know what? I have a real problem. This man sits there and he's gone all these years of college. He's a writer and everything, but yet he can't find a way to word questions respectfully. I mean, come on now. You sit there and you look at Kevin Bowen and Zach Kiefer. I mean, Kevin Bowen, the presser before this one, with Chris Ballard in the room, had to ask the tough question of, what is Chris Ballard's future? You know what I mean? He did it in a respectful way. You know what I mean? And you got to understand that was a tough, awkward question. But yet this individual can't even sit there and find a way to show his fellow coworkers respect, find a way to sit there and find a respectful way to sit there and say,
well,
this is, that's why I was like, I better wait on that part. So, but my point is just, come on, man. You got the education. You got the words. You're just doing this to get that I'm a dick point thing going on.
Yep. Here we go. Let's hear his question, his 2-part question.
Where did you watch the Ring of Honor ceremony from? Where did you spend that game, the Ring of Honor game?
Look at Jeff's face. He's like, what? Why does that matter?
On the field. Oh, we started today? I was working for ESPN. I can tell you my whole day. I started early in a suite upstairs watching Red Zone because I had to work the next day. Tarek suite.
Okay.
Yeah. So we were up there. We were all going to come together and hang. And then there were, I don't know how many guys, 5 or 6 dudes, Peyton, Edge, Free, Marv, Bill. On the way down to go see Tarek, we went into Jim's suite, said hello, and met he and everybody who was in his suite, kind of shook hands, and then we all made way down to the field, and then at halftime I left to go to work.
Well, first off, I'm just wanting to pause real quick. Thank you for sharing that, Jeff. That is very nice inside information. But what the hell does that have to do with the eggs in China, Greg? Come on.
Yeah. After halftime, I left to go to work.
My follow-up is this. You said the other day that this all came together in about 12 hours.
Yeah.
Which means he just said, Jeff Saturday said, he just said, hey, Jeff, you said the other day all this came together in 12 hours.
I don't know how to say this other than I find that very hard to believe.
He just called him a freaking liar right to his face.
I know. You know damn good well if this wasn't being recorded and stuff, Mr. Saturday would have a no, you don't know how he'd handle it. But I'm telling you right now, had he been a player or something back in the day, he'd be like, look, you're gonna question my honesty and stuff when you just started asking questions. Come on now.
And I'm wondering, you were in town that week.
Yeah.
This didn't come up?
No.
Advising or saying?
Look at me. Did not come up.
Okay.
Not once. Yep.
So
I speak, I'm gonna tell you how it is, right? Like, you're gonna ask me a question, I'm gonna tell you straight up. Not not once. My first call was Irsay during the game Sunday.
You know what Jeff Saturday just did?
Became a boss. Put a boss move on him.
He just handed Jeff Doyle his ass. That's what the heck he just did. All right.
So you were stunned, you say.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reasons why you wouldn't take this job, and you explained a little bit on Sunday night or Monday night why you did.
Yeah.
Why are you here? Why take the job?
Because I care. Right. And I told the guys this morning, I care about the players, I care about their families. I've sat in their seat, man. This sucks. Right. I like Frank. I've talked to Frank. We've texted. I love Frank, man. I was working with Frank, right? So I'm working with him every week, talking to him. I consider Frank a friend, and I love him. I think he's a heck of a football coach. I got no control over how that. So I understand from their perspective. I've sat in that seat. They love Frank, man. That's their coach. I mean, they played for this dude. So I don't minimize that at all. I care about the staff and their families. These guys work hard. They sacrifice for their families. They sacrifice time, energy, and effort. Like, I know equipment room, man. I know media relations. I know training room. Like, you guys act like these are my people, bro. Like, my adult life was forged here, right? Like, my wife and I had raised, we raised our kids here. Like, these people matter to me. This organization matters to me, right? The people in the community matter to me. I mean, everybody thinks it's just like flippant. This is not. Like, I care whatever I can do. And when he said, hey, can you help me? Absolutely, I'll help. If somebody called and said, hey, this is an opportunity to say, for the people who are in this room and in this building, would you do it? Absolutely, I'm going to do it, right? And I had to make sure my wife was on board. She and I talked about it, prayed about it. I called him back and I said, let's do it, right? And that was it. Just for great, that was at 1 o'clock in the morning. Like, Irsay carries different hours than me, right? He's a lot later, but it was like 1 or something that you consider it. And I said, hey, my wife and I, and then he and Chris talked and had a conversation and did whatever, but I had no idea how it was going to flow through. Just didn't know. And it was a whirlwind, man. And is what it is now. I'm here and trying to beat Las Vegas. I mean, that's the focus at this point.
Yes, sir.
In fact, his very first answer to why did you take this job? Well, first off, who the hell wouldn't? Okay. Second off, because I care. Because this guy has spent his blood, sweat, and tears into this organization for years. Okay. He knows the people here. He's been consultants with the people. He knows what's going on and he hates seeing what's happening. So, of course, if you come into an organization, not just because it's your job, but because you care about the organization and the people there, that makes it even more sweet.
Absolutely. I mean, guys, you heard he said he answered the phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning. That right there shows you the commitment that he has to this organization. Because how many of us, let's be honest, how many of us has sit there dead asleep and like he said, he runs a totally different, time frame and stuff. He at 1 o'clock in the morning, he's sitting there dead asleep and he knows he's got an early morning at the job and stuff, but yet he still takes that phone call. That screams volumes just in that move alone. But then, man, this is the stuff that needed to be stated the first presser. This is the question that needed to be asked, and this is what needed to be stated. And then Irsay could have just said what he said. You know what I mean? Irsay could have just been like, yeah, more of that. I loved it, man. I loved it.
So that's why you did do it. And obviously your wife had to talk things out from a family perspective. Did you have any trepidation on the other end? Like, okay, why you would not maybe want to do this? You're in a tough spot. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you had a parachute in here. So was there any of that?
No, I got big shoulders. I knew the bullets I'm going to take. I'm good with it, right? Like, and I'll address. I know the question I'm sure is going to get asked, but the Rooney Rule. I'll be honest with you, it's an important rule. I do not diminish it 1 second, right? I believe and understand fully why it is as important as it is, right? I don't minimize. This is important. My role here is for 8 games. When this is over, they will do an exhaustive search and pick whoever their best candidate is to be the head coach of the Colts. If I'm considered, I'd be honored. I have no idea where this thing is going to go, not even a little bit. And I'm not, but I can assure you that's going to be handled. That from the organization's perspective, from my perspective as a man, like I'm good. And here's the deal. Everybody talks about I'm completely comfortable in who I am as a man, bro. I know I can lead men. I know the game of football, and I'm passionate about it. I have no fear about, are you as qualified as somebody else? Bro, I spent 14 years in a locker room. I went to playoffs 12 times. I got 5 dudes in the Hall of Fame that I play with. You don't think I've seen greatness? You don't think I've seen how people prepare, how they coach, how they GM, how they work? I mean, won Super Bowls, been to 2. Like, here's the deal, man. None of us are promised a good job. I may be terrible at this. And after 8 games, I'll say, God bless you. I am no good. I may be really good at it. I got no idea, but I dang sure ain't going to back down. I can tell you that. I mean, listen, if life ain't an adventure, it ain't for nothing. You know, it ain't for me. I'm ready to go do this. I take a challenge head on, and I know. And listen, everybody can say whatever they want, and I appreciate that. But from my perspective, when I was asked, you know, they said, hey, we're following every rule. At the end of the season, you aren't promised anything. Perfect. Let's go with that, and I'll move forward. I have no fear if I'm no good. And Mr. Ursay looks at me and goes, hey, we appreciate you. Thanks for stepping in. Man, job well done. I'm grateful for the opportunity.
You're muted, Bob.
First off, the fact that earlier he said, you know, he cares about the team. And then he brings up, you know, hey, I'm going to come in here with no expectations. I know it's only for 8 games, right? And the Rooney Rule is important, and it's a darn important rule, and it's meant for long-term coaching, right? Hires at the end of the season. If I've done a great job and they decide, hey, you know what? You want to interview for this, you know, to go along with the other interviews that we're going to have to go through, because, you know, that is the rule of the NFL, then he'd be honored for it. But it is not something that, you know, he's worried about, because he's got those shoulders. He knows how to lead men, right? He's not afraid to speak his mind. If he is not afraid to speak his mind to Peyton Manning on the sideline during a game with a hot moment going on, then you sure as heck don't think that he's going to be afraid to talk to anybody else on this stinking team. That's for darn sure.
Absolutely. And then, okay, and I'm going to say this, but I want to put the fire in there. I love Coach Reich. Okay. Thank you very much, Coach Reich, for a lot of the things that you did and stuff. Okay. This is not me taking a shot at him, but this right here, this emotion, this just straight in your face. This is me as I am. Take it or leave it. I love that mentality. And to sit there and, you know, and he's acting like, you know, this is a chance of a lifetime. I mean, think about it. We're talking about a man who had a job at ESPN. I don't know, never done that job. I don't know how cush it is, but he had a comfortable living that he was making at ESPN. And he sat there and he said, you know what? My guys need me. My team needs me. My community needs me. I swear, whoever, you know, these YouTube channels that are popping up, next person that comes needs to have Saturday in like a paratrooper outfit and stuff, just drop it in, because he is really coming at one of the darkest times for this team, because the expectations were so high, but yet then where we hit was so low. And to come in, I mean, just come into that environment alone, but then to sit there and be met with all this negativity from the national, I mean, from his coworkers, you know, and I don't mean ESPN, but I just mean his colleagues. Let me rephrase it. His colleagues, people from the national media who are dumping all over this man and dumping all over the organization because of what they perceive as a slight or something. It's insane. It is insane. And I'll tell you right now, he is answering every question. He's crossing every T for me, and he's dotting every I. And I appreciate it, my guy. Appreciate it.
I bet you talked to the players the same way in there. Were you this way with them? Were you
100%.
straightforward and honest?
It's me, dude. I ain't gonna change. I told them, you know, if I'm not authentic, bro, we're you know, we got nowhere to go. But it's who I am.
You said the other night, you said that you got the call from on Ursay time, midnight, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
So then you guys talk about it, pray about it, sleep on it. So then he called you back at 9:10. When did you say yes?
Man, 9, maybe 9. No, maybe it may have been even later than that. It was whenever they called me and told me they were going to have a meeting with Frank, and I can't remember if that's 10, you know, whatever, because they said we're going to pull him in, and that was not. I don't know when Chris and Jim decided to do that. I don't know the exact, but it was. I knew right before he was going to go in.
One of the things, again, you as a player, a creature of habit, you like routine.
Sure.
And you're going to try to put your stamp, you're going to put your stamp on this team somehow. Will most of the functioning of the team be what it's been?
Yes.
Practice, meetings, all that. I mean,
So I've made minor adjustments, different stuff in practice that just I would prefer order, but however that looks, I've made it very clear, like roles and responsibilities from our offensive staff. We're understaffed. Like, let's be real. We've had the two guys that called our plays, the OC and the head, all gone. Like, that's a big deal. Like, I hope people understand the weight of what that is. Now you've reduced the people and increased the workload, and you bring a guy in that is not familiar with all the nomenclature, all the stuff that goes into real ball. So I'm playing catch up at the same time. So man, it's a tall task ahead, and but again, we're going to put this thing together step by step. But these guys are good football coaches. They understand that they are very bright people that know their roles, and everyone to a man has stepped up and then some. Can I stay late? What else can I do? What other box can we check together? Can I help? When I told the offense that the Parks are going to do this, I think it was Reggie slapped the table. Let's go. Got excited, right? What can we do to help? Like, the energy and the excitement for these guys. These guys like each other. They treasure each other, and they're helping each other. That's been huge for me just to watch that.
Okay, so real quick. Now obviously we're about a half hour in, and we're just a little over halfway done with this, but I want to say something really fast on this aspect. The fact that he's keeping things the way it once ran, he's walking in and he's like, however it was ran before, keep rolling with it so that I can get a feel. That's what I'm seeing from this, so that he could get a feel of how a team is ran from a coaching standpoint. And I think that is freaking huge. Once he gets that feel, then he can start making his moves. And the coaches around him obviously are going to give him every bit that they possibly can, and then some, because let's face it, head coach and OC got fired. Everyone's job's on the line at this point, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the thing is he mentioned that he went in and talked to these guys, and I don't know if you guys have had a chance to. Absolutely, TJ Joe's for $2. Thank you very much. This could be horrible, but a top 5 public speaker. Well, I don't know that anything that this man does is going to be horrible, because let's be honest, we've been in horrible. Okay, we were at horrible going into this situation. No OC, no head coach. This man is an outstanding public speaker, but you know what? You can be a smooth talker and still not be relatable. Okay. Go to Twitter. Go. I mean, check out what Quentin Nelson, what DeForest Buckner, what some of the pillars of this team are saying. Ryan Kelly. I mean, some of these guys that were slightly outspoken, I know what, but you could tell that they were irritated by the way the Reich thing went down and stuff. But to sit there and have this guy come in and have these conversations, man to man, team to man, it's really impressive. And the thing is that honesty and that just straight up being real, not pretending, not putting in any false airs, that's going to go a long way in that locker room with these guys.
Absolutely.
The other night, Jim's mentioned a few times about numbers and analytics and whatnot. I know this could change over the weeks, but come Sunday, the decision to go for it on 4th and 1 or kick your field goal or punt, is that going to be your decision to make?
Yeah, that's my decision. Yeah. Listen, I'm a O lineman, bro. I work awfully hard to get points. I'm going to take points. I'm not. It's a hard living. It's a hard living in there, man. So we'll see what happens. I have 2 guys I'm going to be working with in the box from the analytics side. We have not had a chance to meet, but looking forward to getting with these guys. And the good thing for me is I get to watch a lot of football and criticize a lot of coaches. So I know I'm going to get that same criticism again. Part of the gig, right? Part of the gig.
That is so freaking awesome. That is so freaking. He's like, look, I've criticized coaches for years now. Now I get the other end of the spectrum, right? But he straight up told you his philosophy. If I had a chance to put points on the board, I'm going to put points on the board, right? Jim Irsay, he talked about the whole analytic thing, and he says he ain't even talked to the analytics guys yet because it's not his thing. He plays with his freaking gut feeling. He's going to coach with his gut feeling as well. And I think that is something that the NFL has really gotten away from.
No, and I don't know, because I mean, analytics is more of that supporting cast member.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, you sit there, you go with the gut feelings, you go with the get, and I'm sorry, but that's what Reich did as well. Okay, he just made certain choices, and Jeff's not saying that he's not going to make any of those
Exactly.
choices. You know what I mean? But he's just telling you how he feels. You know, his first initial thought's going to be, give me those for sure points. Okay,
Mhm.
but he's also not sitting there saying he's married to it. But this whole analytical thing is. It's like, we got enough problems. Why are we creating more problems? Okay, because Reich, whether he still went off his gut feeling, and he just used analytics to support it.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we go.
Sorry, what do you
think
he meant? What do you think he meant when he said that analytics makes coaches afraid?
I don't even know what you're talking about. I mean, who is he?
Hearsay on Monday said
Oh,
coaches
I
are
don't know.
afraid and analytics got us together. Okay.
I'm not
Do you
sure.
feel like
Jeff,
the
on that
whirlwind
side-
of this week, you're not going to get enough time to actually coach football? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah, it's been a challenge so far. You want to hear the crazy part? We've only had one walkthrough. So we hadn't even started practice. So like all this is happening. I just finished my first walkthrough with the team. So everything's the first today. Your first team meeting for, so again, we got a lot left. Like for me, the best thing is to get on the grass. Like I can't tell you how excited I am to actually go do football. But I've got notes from this walkthrough this morning, and so now we'll get into the actual coaching and those things. But again, I'm encouraging my staff to take ownership, push forward, and hey man, let your voice be heard. Like I'm not critical. I'm open ears and open minded. Let's work together.
Any thoughts on that?
No, I know it's not real, but I love the fact that he's letting his guys do what they do. I mean, I've managed restaurants and stuff, never a professional team, but I've managed restaurants, and that's what he's going to be. He's going to be coming in here and he's going to manage these guys, because you got 8 games. He's got an offensive line that needs working on. He's got things that he's here to address, but yet, he can't do it all himself, and he realizes that, and that's huge.
So I want to jump this in here. So a lot of people talk about, other people should have had this head coaching job other than Jeff Saturday, like let's say Reggie Wayne. Well, it took them 5 years to get Reggie Wayne to even accept the fact that he got the wide receivers coach. What makes anyone even think that Reggie wanted the job, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it took that much just for him to get there. And to be straight and frank about this, Reggie Wayne supports Jeff Saturday 110%. Okay.
Absolutely. I was sitting there listening to some of these interviews that they had with the players and stuff, and they made a statement that Jeff come in and talked to them and everything, and Reggie was the first one to smack the table, start clamping his hands, and say, "Let's go." Okay, these guys, everybody wants to create all this turmoil, but this locker room is still this. I mean, yeah, there's people that don't like the way things are going, and there's people that are going to have their own opinion, but they're not letting it affect the brotherhood. You know what I mean? They're keeping their opinions and they're just focusing on their job, and that's huge in that locker room.
No.
Jeff, on that staff point.
He just said, no, I ain't answering your
any
question.
Other staff changes of guys, elevated roles, or anybody you're bringing in outside the building?
No, nothing. Yeah.
Let Gus and Bubba do what they've been doing.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. And I hope they do it as well as they've been doing it. Golly, that's a lean on. Like, come on, man. Come on, Gus. Come on, Bubba. Make this thing happen. Help me look really good.
I mean, that's a flat fact, right? Even
Yep.
He's been an analyst at ESPN this whole time, and he's been nothing but positive about how Gus Bradley's defense and Bubba Ventrone's special teams has been all year. And that is one of the positives that Jeff Saturday gets to walk in. And that's one of the reasons why he's here. We didn't get somebody like, they didn't call up Dwight Freeney to be the head coach because our defense and our pass rush isn't really the problem, right? It's the offensive line. And so we went out and we got an offensive line dude.
Yeah, and the thing is he is very familiar with what's been going on with this offensive line, because sounds like from the things that we've been hearing, he's getting these calls pretty much on the weekly basis, and stuff. And I want to bring up a point that doesn't address with this, but guys, you remember how prepared Peyton Manning was? You remember how Peyton Manning came in and just ran everything? Jeff Saturday had to be equally as prepared. There's no way that those practices could have flown as smoothly as they did over back in the day. This man is coming in here; his eyes are wide open, and he's got his hard hat on, and he's totally prepared for this situation. Does that mean that that's going to make him a success? No, because your players have got to play. The message, I mean, and in this week, he says they ain't even practiced yet. One walkthrough. That's a tall task, but you know what? This is the professional world. This is the situation that we're in. It's not ideal, but he's not whining about it or anything. He's just like, all right, let's do this. Let's go.
Absolutely. Guys, 120 of you in here. Please smash that like button. We'd appreciate it a lot. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and tag that notification bell if you want to donate to the channel to help support us and keep us going. Please use the link in the description of the video, and we're going to continue here.
Line influence?
I mean, not right now. I will. I mean, it's my passion. So I'm obviously going to speak, and I have been working with Strauss, so yeah, we'll have conversation, but he and Kev and, that group, they're doing good. And Clayton at tight ends, those guys have a good relationship, and we're just trying to find a blend, right? I'm my principles and thought process, so we're having all those conversations now.
That's freaking awesome. Now, he said, right now, no, he's not going to have his hands into the offensive line, but he will, especially if he continues to need to. Right now he's got to trust these guys and just talk with them, right?
Yeah. Let's go ahead and keep this moving. I know we got a lot to cover and chat.
Level here, Jeff, of good players. You talk a lot about the coaches. What have you seen in a quick synopsis of this and what this team can actually do?
Yeah, so I believe in them, right? I believe this is a good football team, man. They've played in some games where they haven't played their best. The players have to step up and make plays. The talent is definitely there. Like these guys have it. Can't beat ourselves. Made a lot of mistakes, right? And the biggest point of emphasis on offense: don't turn the ball over, right? Like that pigskin controls 53 of you and a whole lot of others' livelihoods. That thing's got to stay with us. On the other side, get that thing out, right? Like, I mean, it's fairly simple, but that was the main message: is we can't beat ourselves. We have to play consistent football, be disciplined, be tough, be fast, be physical, all the things that I believe in as a man and as a football player, just breathing that into them. And then the expectations is we execute, and execute means that we do what we're coached to do. Ain't no ad lib. You can't fix problems if we ad lib, right? So we do what we're asked to do. So we're all on one page and we can make corrections when needed. And hopefully that formula wins.
That's huge. Mm-hmm. Talks about turnovers. Don't give it away. Go out there and get it. Now, Frank Reich's talked about that the whole time too. So that's no secret, obviously. But he's talking about quit ad-libbing out there on the field. Do your job. Don't try to do somebody else's job, because that's where mistakes are made. And that's what Gerard Powers and Rodney McLeod have been talking about over on Believe. All season we were talking about that. And now he's right here just, accentuating that point.
Absolutely.
Last name, James Boyd, last one.
Jeff, can you clarify something? You said that Irsay called you during the Sunday's game?
Yeah.
So to gauge your interest.
Our
friend coach was still the head coach of this team. He called you to gauge interest.
He was just upset. He was asking me what was going on. This was not about Frank. He was asking about what's going on. They had given a bunch of sacks. I was not watching that game, so I was preparing to go to work. So I was watching all my other games. I actually watched the Colts at 7. So like my schedule for working for ESPN. So this was not a conversation about Frank. This was what the H is going on with our protection. I think they'd given up. No, nothing to do with job. This was 100% what's happened to our O-line. What is, and that's the role that I have been doing with Strauss and Frank. But I asked her, I don't even know what's going on, so I had can't help if I can't see it. So just part of being outside that network, and doing another gig.
All right. And that's it. That's the whole presser. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for hanging out with us. It's 40 minutes. We got a couple more minutes where we can sit here and talk. Guys, real quick, I do want to drop like I said afterwards, I was going to say, about sharing this right here. We got Laws. Thanks for the subscription. Appreciate you. TJ Joe with could be horrible, but a top 5 public speaker, which is absolutely dead on. He could be bad. He could be good. We don't know. We have yet to find out. Purity Empire said $10 with the Go Colts. Keep up the work. I appreciate that a ton. So, guys, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in there to dissect.
Mhm.
And I know that you've got some comments and questions that are in the chat that you wanted to bring up. Go ahead and do so.
Well, I just wanted to, I don't have any set one, but I just seen there was a bunch of it. But I will say, though, it's a couple weeks ago that they benched Matt Ryan. They put Sam Ellinger trying to spark the team and stuff. Okay. Then they get rid of Marcus. Still trying to, guys. Colts said, we're done with trying to spark this team. They just took the Jeff Saturday stick of dynamite and dropped it in and said, get these guys going. You know what I mean? And that to me is the strongest thing. It's just this is a needle mover. This is something that I can sit there and see that is really, really going to bode well for us in these next eight games. Because honestly, that was the thing. I was just like, I just don't see the fire, the passion, and hopefully this here, is enough to help bring that out of these guys.
Absolutely. There was some questions and some comments talking about Frank Reich taking offensive coordinator jobs at different teams. That's not going to happen. Frank Reich, it's already been reported. I guess Zach Kiefer talked to him yesterday, I believe it was, and was talking to him. He said he's going to spend a few weeks and hang out with his family and stuff like that. But he fully 100% expects to be offered a head coaching job at the end of this season. And honestly, I think he does too, because I mean, look, you can't put everything on Frank Reich. There's a lot of issues here that wasn't all on Frank. He had to take the fall on this because this was his baby, and it's just a bad timing, bad situation. And I think that there's going to be another owner out there or GM that is absolutely going to give Frank another head coaching job.
Oh yeah. Head coaching, offensive. He's going to be in high demand because as much as this fan base is done with Frank Reich and stuff. I mean, in the profession, he is highly respected. Okay, his resume is respect. I mean, guys. Okay, as much Reich did all this with a rotating door at the quarterback. I mean, just getting a winning record out of that is a massive thing. So, like I said, that Frank Reich's going to be good. I hope that he finds that next team or that next situation that helps him achieve the goals that he's trying to.
Absolutely. And those of you in here that are trying to say that the Colts defense is mediocre, it's not that good. The Colts defense is absolutely stellar. Okay. Mm-hmm. Absolutely stellar. They've given up 2 touchdowns in the last 3 games. One of them was at the very end of a game at the 4th quarter where, they were deadbeat tired. The other touchdown they gave up was after a block punt and their backs was on the wall at the 3-yard line. Those are the only 2 touchdowns in the past 3 games that this team has given up. They've been giving up field goals since then. And they have the mentality, literally. The Colts defensive players were telling me, we have the mentality, we don't even want them to get past the 50. We need to stop them before they get to the 50, let alone, before they get to the red zone. We want to stop before they get to the 50. And that is the kind of mentality you absolutely want from your defensive players.
Yeah. And like I said, I know I'm super pumped and super hyped about this, but I'm not sitting there saying that he's just going to snap his fingers and this is all going to right itself. The biggest problem is, though, that offensive line. We've got to not fix, but we've got to find some answers at that offensive line. Maybe he's seen something that's, he's talking about people that are overextending themselves. Maybe he sees something where the offensive line's too worried about the Matt Pryor situation or too worried about the Danny Pent early in the year. Maybe they were maybe saying, you know what, you got to just lock in on your job and those guys will learn to do their job. Like I said, I'm not really sure exactly how this is going to work out because we have tried so many things at that offensive line. But I'm telling you right now, if anybody's going to be able to do it, I think Jeff Saturday is the man for the job.
Absolutely. I mean, the main problem with our team is the offensive line. We can't get any kind of push or holes for the running game. And for, the passing game, I mean, my goodness, we've given up more sacks than any other team in the NFL, more quarterback hits. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
More quarterback hits, and I just happened to read that one right when you said it.
Right. But it is what it is, So he already said he's not going to put his hand directly in the offensive line immediately, but he's going to let the coaches do what they need to do. He'll work with the coaches in that, and then if it needs to be done, by the way he was speaking things, he said, "Oh, I will," So that's a good thing. He just needs to look at Matt Pryor and say, "Dude, your best position on this team right now is to hand out suckers." All right. For those that are actually out there playing football, because you are not. All right. You are playing window ball. I guess that's a thing, open window ball. So things can go right through with no problem.
Yeah.
Guys, please smash that like button. I appreciate you. We got 45 minutes. We got to get off here in a little bit because I got to set up my Patreon only live stream, which happens every Wednesday. Only Patreon members are allowed to not only watch it, but also join. The way, me and Loyalist are sitting here, Patreon members get a link to come in, hang out, talk. A lot of guys in the chat right now that are actually part of the Patreon. You can be too. It's only $5 a month. And the link is in the description to come join. I'm going to drop a couple real quick ads real fast, if you don't mind. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. This channel is proudly sponsored by the Backroom Collection. They do beautiful sports canvas art with football, basketball, baseball, and other sports themes. Special orders are accepted and autograph pieces are available. Many Indianapolis Colts signed pieces will be available beginning in November. Just use your discount code CL10 to purchase the pieces you want to spice up your living area. That's CL10. After the press conference that I have seen from, obviously his introduction press conference and then, of course, his first team conference, I will say, and a lot of people have already said it in here, I can't afford $5 a month. TJ drops more than $5 a month in super chats, but I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you so much. They've said a lot of people said that they'd be willing to run through a brick wall for this man in the chat right here, right now. And you know what? There's a lot of similarity in in personality that I've seen between Jeff Saturday and our GM, Chris Ballard. They both seem to be very open and honest and straight to the point, right?
Yes. Yeah. And that's the thing, you're going to be able to generate some of that true open door policy. You're going to, can you imagine the discussions between these two guys? Okay. You know what I mean? Because they both have that strong alpha male type of personality and stuff. But I'll tell you right now, that's going to be what gets some of these answers solved. That's going to be what helps open some of these eyes. Man, I'll tell you right now, Jeff Saturday is one of very, very few people that I could see stepping into the situation and making the best of it.
Absolutely. Guys, one quick question for all of you that are in here. You got over 110 people in here. If you haven't smashed the like, obviously do so. But there's over 110 people in here. One question. I want you to drop it in the chat. Does Jeff Saturday help this offensive line get better? With his hiring, with his knowledge, do you think the offensive line gets better? Just a simple yes or a simple no. Just drop it in there. We got terms of service. No, I'm pretty sure that means yes. But let me know if you think because of the hiring that he's going to have a direct. All right. And we got Tim Reed in here says yes. Ninkowski says no doubt. Indianapolis U agrees. How about yourself? Do you think this is a move that will successfully make a positive impact on the offensive line?
Yes, positive impact 100%. Find all the answers and solutions? No, but positive impact. And that right there, you elevate one of these guys and the group is elevated.
All right. Honesty here by TJ. You don't know. Well, you know what? Honestly, we don't know either. We're just hoping that it does. And Brandon's like, he better. Wyatt, yes, they're afraid to disappoint Jeff. And I would be too, when you're one of those guys. I mean, he's not as big as he used to be when he was a center, but you see him standing there with his hands on his hips, standing, just talk. Imagine how it's like when he's in the locker room when you don't have to actually worry about the words that are actually coming out of his mouth, what kind of words that are coming out of his mouth. So absolutely. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Good luck to Jeff Saturday. I hope you have a successful time here with the Indianapolis Colts during the next 8 weeks. 8 weeks, guys. 8 weeks. That means we have a possibility. It's slim, but there's a possibility the Colts could end up being 11-5-1 and still make the playoffs. I'm not saying they will. I'm just saying it's possible. And I will about darn well guarantee you, if Jeff Saturday finds a way to fix the offensive line and get this team to 11-5-1, if they get to 9-7-1, I think he has a really good shot of keeping his job outside of the interim as a long-term head coach for the team.
And Nomadic Brian, that's up to you, my guy. I've never referred to a grown man as teddy bear, so that's a you call.
Absolutely appreciate you, Wyatt. Thank you so much. We will be back on Friday to break down the Indianapolis Colts and Las Vegas Raiders. Make sure you don't forget to hit the notification bell after you subscribe so that you are notified when we go live to talk about that. And of course, tomorrow, Believe in Colts, myself, Rodney McLeod, and Gerard Powers break down this week's game. It'll be uploaded tomorrow. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Any final words?
Like Lawrence said earlier, guys, come hang out with us tonight. This is going to be a lively Patreon. If you guys can do it $5 a month, come on over and make sure that you do not, like B-Ball says, do not miss next week's Believe episode. You got a special guest coming in, I believe, and that's going to be an interesting thing if that all works out for you, right, Bub?
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. That's Colts Loyalist. And as usual, I want you to have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.
There's a lot of people out there giving some hate towards Jeff Saturday for accepting the job as the head coach. We shouldn't be giving hate for that. We should be giving him the support. He's not the one that offered the job. He's the one that got offered and he accepted. Any person in their right mind would have done that. I hope he has a great season this year. And you should too. Have a good one.